So, okay, so you will start with your educational details of your educational background.
I have done my schooling from DAV Public School, New Panvel, after which I have done commerce for my secondary education. After which I have studied bachelor's, I've done a bachelor's in mass media. In this course, we worked on several projects related to marketing and advertising. Also, we learned on current affairs and used trends as campaigns to work on it. And along with my education background, I also did extracurricular activities like I was involved in a theater and performance workshop. I also did a Corel Draw and Photoshop workshop along with a baking course.
Okay. So can you list all of your skills which can be very helpful in your future program?
Yes. Skills that I have learned in my course, in my bachelor's, was marketing and advertising, especially marketing skills that I feel that I have developed a lot over the 3 years, and the practice of selling. These are two special skills that I'll be taking further in my course, because I believe that even social work is a management program. So skills like management and marketing will be helpful in any field of social work.
So what about this Corel Draw? This can also help you?
Yes, because Corel Draw and Photoshop are software skills workshop. So we learn how to design pamphlets or advertising. And at times I feel advertising plays a very crucial role. So I won't have to hire someone else. I can do it by myself.
Can you describe that crucial role that you are talking about?
I was talking about the management role mainly, that we learn management principles and functions in our bachelor's.
Give me some examples where you can use your advertisement skills, especially for the use of your future, whatever job or profile you are looking for after doing this course.
Okay. Suppose if I am working in a village area and there isn't, for example, awareness about contraceptives. Now, the best way of attracting an audience is advertising it to them, and how you can cater an audience which already is facing problems like population. How can you creatively engage the audience comes from advertising itself.
Okay, so let's say in the same situation where we were talking about promoting the use of contraceptive.
Yes.
So let's say you did design some posters and you spread it all the places in the village. And but the male community or the elderly community are not very happy with that advertisement, and they started shouting or crying against you and protesting against you. So what will you do at that time?
Before advertising comes awareness campaigns. So in a place like a rural area where the subject is already sensitive, the first main step is spreading awareness in this rural area, after which advertisements.
Again, you told to spread awareness, you will be using the same poster.
Yes, but I'll be using that a secondary, and those posters won't be very abrupt. Like, we won't have models and any sexual problem over there. We'll have it in a very informative way. It will be presented.
But again, they can mind over these informations also. Okay, why are you promoting?
Definitely. But I believe bad publicity is also good publicity, because at the end of the day, even the message is received by the audience is also effective.
Okay. So now coming to the point, what do you understand by livelihood?
Livelihood means securing basic necessities along with acquiring a skill set which will attain dignity and self-esteem in a society in a sustainable manner.
Yeah, so can you tell me about what is the most which livelihood source in India covers the most percentage of population?
Also, I would like to know the difference between dignity and self-esteem.
Okay. Sure. Number one, first question, agriculture covers 51% of the livelihood sector in India. And secondly, what Sir said was self-esteem is self-belief, having the belief that I have the capabilities, that is self-esteem, and self-dignity is a society to earn that dignity, that I have a livelihood that I am earning. I have a standard of living, so that comes with the dignity that I possess.
So you were talking that agricultural covers most of the population of India.
Yes, yes.
So what is the threat or what is the issue under that livelihood or agricultural based livelihood?
Currently, according to me, it's climate change that is taking a toll on agriculture because of the floods, the cyclones that have happened recently. Agriculture is facing huge problems. And I feel we are not as developed because if we notice also GDP, in terms of the primary sector, only 12% is contributed in the GDP. That means that there is a lot of work needed in this agricultural sector that holds major share in the primary sector.
Other issues, like, okay, when the climate change is the concern, but still agricultural productivity is there. And the
Yes.
way we're talking about GDP contribution is less, just because other sectors are also doing very good in terms of
Yes,
producing the
of course, the
output.
tertiary sector is doing very well.
So,
Yes.
so what are the issue with respect to livelihood?
In agriculture only, sir.
Agriculture.
I feel somewhere there is a lack of knowledge which plays a gap in agricultural sector, wherein farmers are not taught or there's a language barrier that happens in learning these farming techniques effectively and putting them in use. And I believe that organizing workshops for teaching these techniques is definitely important, but actually working with the farmers and seeing whether this is an effective process, that would be more helpful rather than just a one-day workshop coming and teaching the farmers about farming techniques, being there with them throughout the farming process, seeing what gaps, that's when we'll actually realize what the problem is.
So, you are suggesting that if you'll solve the productivity issue of agriculture, it will more or less solve the issue of livelihood in that area.
Livelihood, again, I would also say including their standard of living also, sir. Like now they're having better houses or having more educational facilities. Once they start earning, they can pay better for the facilities that are surrounded. Healthcare facilities in a rural area that I know, Asangaon, the healthcare facilities are so bad right now that they do not even have medicines basically for snake bites and all such things. So once they earn a little, I'm sure that the facilities can get better around them, and that's when their livelihood will
Okay,
improve
so don't you
altogether.
find that agriculture is overburdened by the population? Like, number of people who are depending upon agriculture is much more than what agriculture in itself can provide. So don't you find this issue there?
Definitely so. And now, since there has been a reverse migration after COVID, there have been more people involved in agriculture than required on the fields.
So
So
actually, I was
definitely.
looking for this point. So now my next question would be, since people now agriculture is overstressed and lot many people who are working with this livelihood are not getting enough employment also or not enough income also.
Yes.
So what is your solution for this? Because this creates a huge chunk of population that is in India, which is based on agriculture, but they are not earning well or they are not having a stable livelihood for the entire year. So
My
what other solution? Manrega is one of the solutions that government of India has provided. So what future do you see where we can work in that area so that we can pull some of the population or percentage of the population from agriculture to other sectors?
my first approach would be training the youth with skilled jobs, with a skilled approach, giving them a set of trainings as per their interest. And the second would be investing in self-care groups of women, particularly to encourage women at the same
Again, the
time.
point is whatever skill you will provide to them, does that guarantee that they will get the job in that skill area, in any of the industry where that skill is required? Because even
Yeah,
industries are saturated with the laborers. So
definitely a guarantee cannot be provided, but definitely will equip them in such a way that they will get a good position, at least not with a very high paying job, but a good position in the urban sector. And if not that, provide them with rural opportunities like setting up an entrepreneurship in a village area, which will give them other job opportunities other than farming.
so again, even to create a entrepreneurial opportunity or even training for entrepreneurs does not um, it doesn't have a planned outcome that whatever you'll be doing, it will come handy or come with results. So can you suggest something which can be done and in a way so that we can guarantee at least some percentage of success?
Um, I feel somewhere along with even having these professional laborers, there'll be a skilled of maybe 2, 3 or 4 trained professionals who will actually look after these people, and they will be somewhere, you know, in charge of handling these issues. So the trained
Okay,
professionals
chalo,
having
let's talk about what skill would you like to suggest if I'm going to train people who are basically under agricultural domain and they are not finding good job or enough job for the year. So what are the skills that you would suggest? Give me some of the skills that you find and that you can say if these can easily fetch them a job or livelihood
for me, I feel right now the need of the hour in a rural sector is marketing skills. So I would actually invest majorly in marketing skills over there, because a lot of times, even though we have portals online where rural area entrepreneurs can showcase their products and services, like the Mahila e-hut by Digital India, but still there is no proper marketing approach that I have seen coming from there. So actually the first skill that I would really invest is in marketing.
Okay, so do you know any other policy that government of India is, or even let's say your state government is having to promote livelihood
We have the
other than Manrega?
National Rural Livelihood Mission, Ajivik Gramin Aspects Yojana. Then we have the mission Antayodhya that actually
That's
ranks
from
people.
government of Maharashtra.
Oh, government from Maharashtra. Government from
Any
Maharashtra.
Antar, what did you say? Antar?
Mission Antayodhya.
Which government has come up with this policy?
This is the central government.
So can you describe that?
Yes. So this is a very interesting thing, one of my very favorites, because here they actually rank the Gram Panchayats on the basis of skill development in their sector and how they've enhanced livelihood in their section. So that kind of encourages Gram Panchayats to actually perform better in terms of livelihood enhancement.
Okay. So again, matlab, you were talking about some policies from your state government also.
Yes, for entrepreneurs, we have a seed fund over here wherein they can invest in, the entrepreneurs get a loan without collateral. We have some district magistrate for, again, entrepreneurs and micro industries over here. So these are the two that I know and I'm aware of.
Okay. So what do you want to do after this course? What's your agenda?
Yes. At least for the next 5 to 6 years, I'm either planning to work for a CSR, the corporate sector, or a NGO that in turn works for livelihoods, so that I gain that amount of experience and learn that amount of capability, so that later over the years I can set up my own enterprise.
So if you're talking about CSR, so how much money corporates are spending on CSR? A rough estimate that you can give.
2% of their net profit.
2% of their revenue.
2% of
minimum
their
that they have to do.
Yes.
So is there any limit of revenue or?
There's no limit. There's like 2% is the minimum that they have to give in, and they can give more other than the 2%. I ideally believe it should be much more than 2%, because that's
why it is so?
Yeah, because this is very much inspired by Tata itself, because before even CSR came in, Tata actually had introduced funds for Kargil War 2611, helping the victims of that area. So corporate social responsibility is much more than that 2%. It's about actually benefiting the society, because you take so much from a society as a corporate.
But the revenue consists of everything, like your cost that you have spent on your product, again, the tax that you are giving, all the salaries or the other expenditures that they are having. So out of everything, the profit margin might not be that good. So how you can say that the CSR should be much more than 2%?
That's like thinking much more than the target of 2%. Like your ideation should be much bigger. That's what I meant by saying it.
Okay. So the thing is that every corporate is having, let's say, even the minimum criteria if they are following. So somehow the overall CSR attempts to companies are doing are not very effective. So in order to make effective, in order to make the CSR initiative effective, what would you suggest either to government to make a policy or something, or companies to follow some?
I believe for CSR, we should take maximum help from NGOs, because NGOs are such that they are the bridge between the government and the rural sector, and they understand the rural sector at a very ground level. So actually sitting with them and understanding the village area would actually be more beneficial for a CSR project.
Okay, chalo. So last question, say. So you see around yourself, and you have seen India also, not seen, but at least we have been watching on television, reading all the data. Hai? So tell me some of the community or some of the livelihood based occupation, the livelihood which can go extinct or which can elope from the community. Do you know any of such livelihood or area where people are currently employed or currently having the livelihood resources, but they might not have the same in next 2-3 years or 5 years?
I had come across a tribal community in the local area that used to grow seaweed in ponds, fishing. But now due to urbanization and the new international airport coming up, in 2 or 3 years, they'll be losing out on their livelihood over there.
Chalo, okay, thank you very much. So somehow तुम्हारा इंटरव्यू तो लास्ट टाइम भी अच्छा था, इस बार भी ठीक है ना? As for marks are concerned, so I'll tell you हुआ क्या कि कंटेंट either I could not ask that much question, मतलब जहाँ पे मुझे बहुत सारा कंटेंट का पता चले, तो आई एम गिविंग यू मोडेस्ट बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट दे रहा हूँ मैं, तो आगे और कम और ज्यादा दोनों हो सकता है ना? कैरियर ओरिएंटेशन इज ओके, एनालिटिकल एबिलिटी इज, इस बार हुआ क्या कि यू मिस्ड टू मेक इट कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव. लाइक व्हेन आई वाज आस्किंग कि एग्रीकल्चरल बेस्ड जो लाइवलीहुड्स हैं उसके क्या चैलेंजेस हैं, तो यू वुड हैव मेड लॉट मेनी अदर चैलेंजेस रेदर देन सेइंग कि क्लाइमेट बेस्ड जो ये है, मतलब you are assuming that that's the stable livelihood, but it is having threat over because of the climate change or other, है ना? तो despite अगर climate change ना भी हो, productivity high भी हो, तब भी वहाँ पे क्या है कि population is too high, है ना? और जो solution वाले केस में था, you could have said कि हम उसकी value chain को improvise कर सकते हैं, like अगर हम raw material पे ही गांव वाले कुछ उस पे कर दे, कुछ part of finished product बना दे, तो they will be getting very cheap raw material at the same place where it is being produced, and they can create a product, they can sell it around. Otherwise क्या होता है कि they sell the entire agricultural output to the corporate or the people or whatever. तो एक वो value chain हम create कर सकते हैं.
But इसमें I was thinking, like the way I thought was investing more on non-farm farm activities along with the farming going on. वैसे like even investing in cash crops for that matter.
तो हाँ वो भी बता सकते थे, कैश क्रॉप के कंसंट्रेशन को राइज करने का, है ना? और मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ वो भी तो वही है, नॉन फार्म एक्टिविटी है बेस्ड ऑन द फार्मिंग आउटपुट. तो जैसे मान लो कि इफ आई रिमेम्बर माय विलेज, और तो वहाँ पे क्या होता है कि जब जब द फार्मर्स आर सेलिंग देयर प्रोडक्ट, तो जिनके पास बहुत ज्यादा बल्क में नहीं होता है ना, दे डोंट गो टू द मार्केट. वो चाहते हैं गाँव में मेरे खेत के पास से ही बिक जाए, खत्म हो जाए. So if other villagers, if they buy that product, or if they can make something over it, मतलब value chain, value increase कर दे by making some product, तो वो they can sell it in higher rate, तो वो जो margin होगा that will be their livelihood output. तो बात तो वही हुई है ना?
Correct.
तो जो मार्क्स हो गया तुम्हारा वही 73-74 के आसपास है. दिस इज वेरी गुड.
फिर भी इंक्रीज हुआ है सर.
इंक्रीज हुआ है. लास्ट टाइम कितना था?
68 था लास्ट टाइम.
अच्छा हाँ, तो इस बार तो इंक्रीज हुआ है अच्छा खासा. मैंने बताया ना कि कई जगह पे आई हैव बीन वेरी कंजर्वेटिव इन मार्किंग, बिकॉज मैं कुछ ऐसा पूछ नहीं पाया, नीदर ऐसा कोई क्वेश्चन था, तो ज्यादातर एनालिटिकल एस्पेक्ट में ही रह गया क्वेश्चन सब. लेकिन स्टिल आई विल से कि मतलब तुम डेटा कंपाइल करो थोड़ा सा लाइवलीहुड से रिलेटेड, मेजर लाइवलीहुड सोर्सेज एग्रीकल्चर के अलावा भी कौन सी है ना? और फिर रीजनल वाइज, जैसे थोड़ा साउथ इंडिया का, थोड़ा नॉर्थ इंडिया का, थोड़ा नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया का, है ना? जैसे बैम्बू बेस्ड कितने सारे लोग उस पर डिपेंडेंट हैं, क्या करते हैं, क्योंकि थोड़ा बहुत आइडिया रहेगा ना, तो विल बी वेल प्रिपेयर्ड टू थिंक और इवन एनालाइज, है ना? उस पे तुम्हारा सही रहेगा. निशांत कुछ तुम बोलोगे?
She is good actually. I found her quite informative, and you come across as a genuine candidate who has worked on her profile in the last few years. You have taken your both the program and your graduation program seriously. So you come across as someone who is informative. You come across as someone who is passionate. Just what Achal sir has just now said, I would again like to add that you must compile a few data, because the more you speak on facts, convincing you will be. However, I do not mean to say that you're not convincing. You're
It's
convincing,
okay. I got it.
and you're passionate. So overall, a thumbs up from me.
Okay. Thank you.
You appear as a likable candidate.
Thank you, sir.